About 6 or 12 months ago, it was always, Steve, about Facebook being the root of all problems. You know, I have a cold, it's all Facebook's. I have flu, I have COVID, it's all Facebook. Which I think was unfair, or verging on the fair. They did unfair. They did make mistakes, but basically, I think you'll see Meta come back extremely strongly this year on the back of Reels and Business Messenger, so to deal with the competition from TikTok and other short-form video competitors. Google had a solid year last year, and I think they'll have a strong year this year. Amazon increased its advertising, actually, revenues from 31 billion to 41 billion. I think it will hit 100 billion in time, despite what you're seeing in terms of jobs and hiring. So I think the underlying, I mean, our ad revenues, as you know, we gave guidance yesterday, or confirmed guidance yesterday, at 25% like-for-like last year. So that's with the market up 10%. So platforms were up 10% last year. The platforms this year will probably be up in ad revenues about 8%, and digital transformation still looks as though it's going to grow by 15 to 20%. Now, the mood here is optimistic, a little bit more optimistic than probably we were expecting coming in, but the realities are going to hit home. I mean, we just heard your previous guest talk about rate hikes. That's Europe, and it's not so much North and South America or Asia, or indeed the Middle East. But the realities hit home once you've left Davos, which is you have quarterly earnings, you have to come onto these programs and be grilled and nailed by the two of you. So it's going to be about top-line growth and activation and performance, and it's going to be about reducing costs through digital transformation. So those two areas for us, you know, we'd lower down the funnel as we like, so we're much more performance orientated and activation orientated. Those are the two areas this year that are going to be top of the marketing agenda, not crypto, which was a small part of the bulge that we saw during COVID, but not a really significant part in terms of advertising spend.
Just on that crypto aspect, is that coming back? Or do you think it's done here?
Well, look, listen, I never understood it. I was in the Charlie Munger, being of similar age. I was in the Charlie Munger. He's got a couple of years on me, but not much. I would be in the Charlie Munger camp about not really... blockchain, yes, I can get that. But crypto, I never really fully understood. Now, I did something with Scaramucci yesterday, and he's still bullish. And it has bounced, what, to 21,000? So maybe with the market bounce as well. We'll have to see, but I remain somewhat cynical about it, to be honest with you, because as Warren Buffett says, you know, if you can't put it in a paragraph or a memo of one page or explain it in very simple language, you have a problem. So I still am somewhat cynical about it.
What difference is the reopening of China going to make?
Huge. I think that's the big thing here, and I think President Xi has a point to prove. I mean, a lot of people say he made some fundamental errors around COVID and vaccination, etc., and policy and zero COVID policy, and it clearly did have a significant impact. But if you look at the forecast for GDP for China, what, 5.2% was been the latest ones. I think it's been even upgraded. Q2. People are talking about 13% increase in GDP. It's going to be huge. The big issue is, given the security issue around Taiwan, is if you have a client of ours, or anybody else's for that matter, and you have a big position in China, do you add to it? I don't think there will be a willingness to really add heavily, but the Chinese economy, and remember that the platforms I was talking about, Alphabet, Google, Amazon, Meta, their second biggest profit centers have historically been outbound Chinese. So these are Chinese companies going abroad. It is huge. People think about them not having platforms. Android is there, but they don't have platforms in China. Indirectly, yes, but indirectly, it's huge. So China is going to be, and the Chinese, the biggest problem remains, I mean, despite the optimism, the underlying optimism, even Larry Summers is getting optimistic. The problems remain US-China relations and the lack of them. The war, it looks as though it's going to continue for a significant period of time. And Iran, which hasn't really focused, there hasn't been a lot of focus around Iran. Those are the three big issues that anybody running a global business, I think, has to think about. And if you have a smaller position in China like we do, we want to expand it. So we're very bullish on China from that point too. But if you've got big positions, it means that India is front of mind. Indonesia, which will be one of the top 5 economies by 2050, the experts tell us. The Philippines, Singapore, Southeast Asia.